as the world continues grappling with looming tariffs from the United States come the 1st of August. The Kgalema Motlanthe Foundation is hosting a seminar to look at the current geopolitics. There are a number of speakers who have spoken, including President Cyril Ramaphosa, special envoy to the US in Mcebisi Jonas. There seems now to be a panel discussion with a number of, noteworthy individuals. The DG from the International Relations Department, Zain Dango, as well as former Finance Minister, Deputy Finance Minister Dondo Mokhachane. Let's listen in.
As well as global. So I think that's how, if I had to sum it up, we need to align our foreign policy at an economic level and geographically. Inclusive economic growth in the context of the rule of law, domestically and internationally.
So before I move on to the DG, I just want you to just deal with, there's been a theme throughout the morning about the balance between growth and transformation, right? Where the JSE, so when I complain the JSE is not particularly owned by black people, or at least to a good extent, I was immediately reminded by some billionaire that the PIC owns most of it, and so on.
It's 14%.
Yeah. I mean, what he's saying that it's a big chunk. You know, why do you want to own more than that? But also not remembering that the PIC is not owned by black people 100%, or the pensions he was referring to are pensions of all South Africans, right? So, can you deal with that issue on one hand in terms of how you are intervening on transformation on that scale, without irritating the international investors who apparently have now placed you squarely in the center of this debate about transformation, to say, oh, you now want me to give up my 30%. There's been a debate that was linked to this Starlink controversy. There's been a World Bank report that says abandon BEE. A quick word on that issue of transformation, balancing it with this attracting of international investors or direct foreign investment.
So when there was no transformation, growth was constrained in this country. You had, if you read Colin Bundy, The Rise and the Fall of the African Peasantry, there were economic opportunities associated with industrialization, and black farmers took advantage of the economic opportunities. They were selling stuff there, generating competition when this economy was growing, which also, by the way, led to the formation of this Johannesburg Stock Exchange, because people had to say, what is the best vehicle for us to mobilize capital in order to deepen mining? But black people were excluded deliberately. I mean, if you read even Hines on the origins of Anglo-Americans, he details very seriously on how the economy was non-racial, black people were participating, and it was growing, and it was constrained. What Bantu education does, it denies this economy skills that were necessary and important for productivity in the workplace. So transformation is quite important. There's no disjuncture or dichotomy or contradiction between economic growth and transformation, because with the rise of the black middle class, you never had a waterfall. You've got a lot of black middle class, they are buying things, there's a lot of activities that are actually going on there, and that's a consequence of transformation. I mean, we're celebrating today, was it Jonas who was saying that it can't be the rugby only that unites us, and transformation, you not have had Sia playing in that if you did not have transformation. So I think sometimes we put unnecessary dichotomies, and maybe to protect colonially accumulated privileges, because I sometimes get that you attack, and I'm not saying it is perfect. I do accept that we have built on one hand, and that's not to say that we must do away with the BEE. We've really built in certain instances what you may call merchant business people. They buy cheaper and sell dear to the state. And that's a premium that the state is basically paying. People are not involved in production, in the actual production and involvement of the company itself, All they do, they buy this at 10 rand and sell it at 50.
All right, we're watching a panel discussion underway in Sandton. That's where the Kgalema Motlanthe Foundation has hosted a number of speakers taking stock of the current geopolitics against the backdrop of the looming so-called Liberation Day tariffs set to take effect from the 1st of August. That's on Friday. And speaking now is Deputy Finance Minister David Masondo. Apologies earlier, I had erroneously referred to him as Dondo Mokgajane. He's joined, of course, by several other speakers there, including Zane Dango with the International Relations Department. We'll continue listening into that for you, of course, throughout the course of the morning. Important to take stock of what's at stake for South Africa if there is no deal struck with the United States by Friday. We're told there are 30% tariffs looming, which are likely to hit a number of our exports quite heavily, including citrus, steel, for example, the automotive sector also taking stock of the possible bloodbath that may come as a result of those duties.